Welcome to the Messy Middle Season 2. I am your host, Jamila, and this season we're having real conversations from women standing in the middle of a turning point. So, quick story. A while back, I found myself waking up in the morning, every morning, with the same question sitting on my chest. What am I supposed to be doing right now? No big crisis, no dramatic breakdown, just a long stretch of unanswered questions. I didn't know what the next season of my work would be or what it would look like. I didn't know how certain relationships would settle. I didn't know how long I'd be in that in between space where nothing felt resolved, but nothing felt completely wrong either. I kept waiting for clarity to arrive before I gave myself permission to move, speak, or rest. And the longer I waited, the heavier everything felt. That's when I realized I wasn't stuck because nothing was happening. I was stuck because I kept telling myself I wasn't allowed to live until I had answers. So today we're going to talk about learning how to live with uncertainty. Not knowing the answer, not knowing the timeline, not knowing what the next looks like, and still showing up anyway. Most of us were never taught how to sit with uncertainty. We were taught how to prepare, plan, anticipate, fix, and control. We were taught that confidence comes from knowing and that security comes from clarity. So when life hands us a season where there are no clear instructions, no guarantees, and no neat resolution, we start to panic quietly. We function, we smile, we do what needs to be done. But underneath all of that, there's this constant tension that says, I don't feel safe here. Uncertainty has a way of making people question themselves. You start wondering if you missed something, if you made the wrong choice, if you should be further along by now. And when you don't get the answers fast enough, your mind fills in the gaps with self doubt. You tell yourself you're behind. You tell yourself you're failing. You tell yourself that everyone else seems to know something you don't. But here's the truth that doesn't get said enough. Uncertainty does not mean you're doing life wrong. It means you're human and alive in a season that hasn't fully revealed itself yet. Not knowing can be uncomfortable, but it's also honest. There's no pretending in uncertainty, no polished storyline, no clean narrative, just you standing in the middle, learning how to trust yourself without a roadmap. One of the hardest parts about uncertainty is the waiting. Waiting for clarity, waiting for relief, waiting for something to shift. And while you're waiting, life just keeps on happening. Bills still need to be paid. Relationships still need attention. Your body still needs care. Your spirit still needs room to breathe. The world does not pause just because you are unsure. And that's where a lot of people get stuck. They put their lives on hold until things make sense to them. They stop celebrating small wins. They stop dreaming. They stop resting well. They stop giving themselves credit for surviving something that doesn't come with instructions. Living with uncertainty means deciding that your life still matters, even when the answers haven't arrived. It means showing up for yourself without the reassurance you're used to having. It means learning how to stand on what you know about yourself instead of what you know about the outcome. And let me be clear about something. Showing up in uncertainty doesn't mean forcing optimism. It doesn't mean pretending you're okay when you're not. It doesn't mean being grateful as a way to silence your fear. It means being honest about what feels heavy and choosing not to abandon yourself in the process. Some days showing up looks like doing the bare minimum and calling it enough. Some days it looks like asking for support even when you don't know what kind of support you need. Some days it looks like naming the fear out loud so it doesn't run your life in the background. Uncertainty asks a different kind of courage from us, not the bold, confident kind that makes for good highlight reels. The quiet kind, the kind that gets up anyway, the kind that keeps going to therapy, keeps journaling, keeps praying, keeps creating, keeps resting. The kind that says, I don't know what's coming next, but I know I deserve to be present for my own life. There's also grief in uncertainty, grief for the version of life you thought you'd have by now, grief for timelines that didn't pan out, grief for certainty you used to rely on, and that grief deserves space. You don't heal by rushing past it. You heal by letting it exist without judgment. So if you're in a season where the future feels foggy, I want you to hear this clearly. You are allowed to live fully right where you are. You are allowed to enjoy moments without knowing how the story ends. You are allowed to take care of yourself without having a 5-year plan. You're allowed to be seen, supported, and held, even while things remain unresolved. The middle is not a waiting room for your real life. It is your real life. And learning how to live with that uncertainty is not about becoming fearless. It's about becoming grounded enough to keep choosing yourself, even when the ground feels unsteady. So today, if all you can say is, I don't know yet, let that be enough. Keep showing up, keep listening to yourself, keep trusting that clarity has its own timing, and you don't have to disappear until it arrives. You're not lost, you're learning how to live in the middle, and that matters more than you've been told. So if this episode met you in a season where nothing feels settled yet, I want you to sit with that for a moment instead of rushing past it. Then share this episode with someone who's quietly carrying unanswered questions, or send it to yourself as a reminder that you don't have to disappear until life makes sense. And if you're walking through your own messy middle right now, stay connected here. We're going to keep having these conversations, slow, honest, and real, together. Thank you for listening. Thank you for joining me. And I will see you guys back here next week for the next episode. Take care.